Welcome to Salaam Nerds Podcast. We do reviews and recaps of your favorite TV shows, movies, and current events.
Yo, it's the Salaam Nerds. My name is Dean, a.k.a. Watch the Geek. I'm here, my boy Chad.
We drop live episodes on YouTube on Sundays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays at 10:30 p.m. Eastern. Thank you to all our supporters. Please help us by subscribing and leaving a good review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. All episodes can also be found everywhere podcasts are found.
Yo, Salaam Nerds. It's your boy Neebs, aka Watch with Neebs, and I am here with Nub. Welcome to Salaam Nerds Podcast, where we talk about Wrestlemania 41 and the Raw after a little bit. Welcome to the show. Nub, how are you doing?
Thanks for having me once again. I'm doing well. How are you?
I am excited to talk to you about WrestleMania. The good, the bad, the ugly, the cringe, all of it.
I guess the question is, what do you want to talk about?
What do we want to talk about? Well, I think we should talk about starting it off with probably one of my favorite matches of the night. Io Sky, Bianca Belair, and Rhea Ripley in the triple threat match. I love it. You know, my niece does that now. So she'll be walking around the house and she'll just go, da.
Amazing.
So, I love the fact that my nieces are into wrestling. They're not into it, but they pick it up through osmosis. Like, they'll be doing their other stuff while we're watching it, and all of a sudden they'll just like pick up on stuff, and they'll do like the yee like Tamatanga, or
Right.
they'll do like the Cody Rhodes, whoa, or and like one of the things that my nieces does, like I see her, like she's just hanging out coloring, and out of nowhere she'll just be like, John Cena sucks. John Cena sucks. She'll be walking around the house going, John Cena sucks.
She's a proper wrestling fan, because that's me at the age of 32 walking around my house.
She doesn't even know what the word sucks means. She's just like, John Cena sucks. She doesn't even know the word. She just knows the song. It's just so funny to me.
Dude, I think that is just a shared collective experience with wrestling fans, because I do that all the time with random catchphrases and actions, just walking around the house and just, like, I'm sure you've seen the TikToks of people like showing when they were kids playing with their pillow, like beating the pillow,
beating up the
pillow to matches. So it's, even till this day, like I'll randomly throw super kicks around my house and just slap my leg.
Well, one thing my niece did now, my niece and my brother, they do the Joe Henry turn, which is like randomly, just like, oh, and just turn around. And there's a video of my niece doing that. It's so funny.
Dude, that's amazing. I think that's really cool. I've seen your videos too, not that specific one, but I just see the videos you post of your family.
Yeah.
And like, I love that. I think it's awesome. Wrestling is always more fun when you have people around to experience it with.
It really is.
Bad, even if the show isn't particularly great, like when you have your friends or family and you're just joking around, laughing, doing silly things, it becomes such a fun experience.
Did you see the food platter that my sister-in-law made for WrestleMania?
Maybe. I feel like it sounds familiar now you're saying it, but I don't remember.
Okay, I'm going to recap it with you. This is all the things that she had. And my brother, I think my brother helped too. They had onion ring general for Gunther.
Okay, now it's coming to me. I don't remember all the things, but I do remember seeing the video. Yeah.
They had romaine Reigns salad, and they put chili peppers on it for the ulafala.
Oh my gosh.
These are all on my Instagram and on my TikTok for you to see it. They have Tiffy fries with moon salt. Get it? Salt.
That's pretty good.
They had CM pizza, because they had a Chicago style deep dish pizza.
Oh.
That they got for Giovanna's. They had a grape stomp, because you stomp grapes to make juice. They had a Superman fruit punch.
Damn.
And they had a go to sleep time tea. And then they offered you coffee Kingston.
Oh my God.
And We had Jacob Fondue.
Yo, that's amazing. You
And
have to
then we
invite
had-
me next time.
And then we had Egg freaking Rolls.
Oh my god.
Egg freaking Rollins.
You gotta invite me next time,
And then
dude.
this is the best one. I'm gonna share this with the camera. It is a picture of a trash can, and look what it says on it. It says Charlotte Flair.
Oh man.
That was
Goated
night
fan.
1. Night 2, we had chicken, which were called Drew McIntyre's. We had Cody roast beef sandwich with American cheese, disaster sauce, and a knife called a Cody cutter. We had olives, and we called them Olive Morgan.
Oh gosh.
We had Rhea Dipley for her dip. We had RK Oreos.
Mm.
We had a John Cena cake that was invisible. There was no cake because you can't see it.
Oh wow.
Chicken tenders with 3 different sauces: green, white, and orange for the Mexican flag, called the
Yeah.
Ego tenders.
Damn.
We went all out this year. This was legit. These are
Yeah,
all on my TikTok and Instagram if you guys want to see it.
That's incredible. Yeah, I need to step my game up. I've never done something like that. That's amazing.
Yeah, shout out to Mavish and Anik, my brother and his wife. And I think that's just so funny when they did that.
Yeah.
All right. So other than that, let's talk about the Io Sky, Bianca Belair, and Rhea Ripley match. I am so happy with the conclusion of this. I really thought they were going to give it to Rhea. But to see Io come out with the win was super satisfying. What are your thoughts about this one?
Yeah, it was a great match. Thrilled about the outcome. I was pretty sure Rhea wasn't winning it, but I thought there was a good chance it could go to Bianca. But I'm glad that they took the story to its proper conclusion, right? Io being treated like an afterthought and her coming out on top, showing that she shouldn't be seen as an afterthought, was the right conclusion. So yeah, and I've expressed so many times, I love Io Sky. She's one of my favorite wrestlers, just of all time, but especially in the current era, she's like top 3 wrestlers for me. So yeah, I was thrilled. It was a great match, which is what you would expect from these 3 super talented women.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really have no complaints, honestly. It's honestly, in my opinion, best match of the weekend.
I would say strong contender. Yeah, for sure. I thought it was going to go to Rhea because I know that Rhea has never beaten Io Sky, and I thought this would be a way for them to keep that alive, but also give her the win and give her title back. So I thought that's what they were going for. But I really like the way they set it up with like Io being an afterthought. It was really just Bianca versus Rhea. And like Io was kind of like nobody was paying attention to her, and now it's like, hey, now you got to respect me. Like now you got to put respect on my name, which I think was really, really cool, and it was a good way to give Io that push, even though she was like the champion. It felt like she wasn't being recognized as how great she is, and she may be one of the best like wrestlers out there. Like not even just female wrestlers, just legit one of the best wrestlers out there.
Dude, I've been saying it. My friend Sully, who I started a podcast with, which you can talk about later.
Are you cheating on me? Are you cheating on me?
He says the same thing. We both agree that she's one of the best wrestlers in the world. Like, doesn't matter what company, what division, whatever. She is one of the absolute best. And what is really cool is they were like, your reasoning for why you thought Rhea might win makes complete sense, right? And in the same vein, Bianca so far had an undefeated streak at Mania. She was 3-0 at Mania. So that's another reason I thought there was a good possibility she could win. And then Io, she's never won at Mania. Yeah. And then on top of that, she's apparently, I didn't know that she's undefeated in triple threat matches in WWE. So it was like all these women had different things and reasonings for them to win, for like it made sense why any of them could win. So that was also really exciting because I didn't think Rhea would, but I'm like, it's the WWE, they love Rhea, so there's a chance that they're just like, yeah, let's give it back to Rhea. It's like the Charlotte Flair kind of mentality at this point. I'm just like, oh, they tend to go to Rhea. So I was like, okay, Rhea could win for that reason. Io could win because of the story they're hopefully looking to like tell of like her being seen as an afterthought and treated as an afterthought, and Bianca could win because she won the chamber and like this is like her story and like everything. So there was a lot of just uncertainty of who would win, which made it extra exciting.
Yeah, and like Rhea is definitely super over, like to the fact that like people were actually booing Bianca when they were going at this. So I could see them giving it to Rhea for that, but I don't know. It worked out really well. I thought that was an exciting match, and the fact that like it's a good match when you get the "this is awesome" chance, and then we had Io come out the next week and fight Stephanie. And we get like 3 "this is awesome" chants. One before the match even started. There's just like the fact that they two are going at it. People were like, "This is awesome," and they put on a really, really good match, and it ended in a non-decision because they both got kind of disqualified. And then the whole thing going on with some of these NXT people, Roxanne Perez, and I forget who the other person was, Julia.
Mm-hmm.
They spelled it with a G. It threw me off.
Yeah.
And then we see Rhea come in to help Io. So it's kind of like, okay, they're like, all right, you know what? The season finale of WWE is over. Now we're starting a brand new year. We're adding new characters. We're adding new plot lines. We're adding new wrestlers in here. So I think it's a good direction that they're going in. I'm excited to see where they're going. I don't know if these NXT people are going to be coming up to the main roster or how that's happening, but I'm excited to see where it goes.
Yeah. I mean, the match was really good. I am always weary of when they have these NXT superstars, engage and wrestle, just because it's hard to book them. Like, you obviously don't want Io to look weak, but you also don't want your NXT stars to look weak. So it's like, how do you do it? You just have it be a no contest or a DQ, whatever, which is also annoying because like I want to just see the two have a really good match and a decisive winner. So it's tricky. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just always like, you could have waited on that, right?
Yeah,
but I also know there's a lot of expectation with the Raw after Mania, so they're like, oh, we gotta do something big and special.
It's the Raw after Mania, man. You got to go big or go home, and I get it. And I feel like Stephanie is getting like a lot of recognition. I'm seeing TikToks about her. I'm seeing videos about her, and she's on the NXT, and I don't even watch NXT. So if she's in my peripherals and I don't even watch it, then I can tell like she is coming off like a big star. So I think that's really
right. Yeah, I think she'll be there. She and Julia will probably still be in NXT for a while, but I think Roxanne will be called up fairly soon.
Yeah, I mean, she was already in the Rumble, and she was one of the people who lasted the longest.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll see.
I think she lasted the longest this Rumble.
Yeah.
But yeah, so and she was in Chamber as well. So like they're slowly transitioning her to the main roster. I think she had or has an NXT title match tonight. She's probably gonna lose that. And then that'll probably be her kind of like send off. It's how they've typically done things in NXT is around Mania time. They'll have call-ups, as we refer to them. So they'll take people from NXT who they feel have, done everything they can and are ready to be on the main roster, and then they just kind of transition them. But usually they'll have one last big match to make the current people look really good before they go. So
fair. Speaking of somebody NXT and someone who's been put us up from the main roster and giving it an incredible push, what's up with Lyra Valkyria? I feel like they gave her this huge push, and she's already the Intercontinental Champion, and then they put a tag team title champion on her as well. And let's talk about that. So we got the Liv and Raquel versus Lyra and the secret person, and then like I didn't even know this was a secret thing until like I was watching it. I was like, the thing with Bayley happened in like a pre-show, which is weird. Like, why do it in a pre-show? Like, nobody's watching a pre-show. Like, does Bayley have a real injury, or are they getting rid of her, or is this just some kind of disrespect? Like, what's up with that, or was this always the plan?
Well, I highly doubt it was always the plan, because I truly believe that WWE rarely has any sort of long-term plan. But I think the Bayley thing, from what I've gathered, is a kayfabe injury. And I think based on what happened on Monday, the attacker will be revealed to be the mystery partner for Lyra at Mania,
Right.
which was Becky Lynch.
Yeah.
So, and yeah, I don't know. It's a very weird thing. And they've done this before in like past Manias and then the Raw after Manias where someone will like win a title and then lose it the next day.
Right.
And again, it's just to create a moment, which is fine, but I didn't see the need to have them lose the titles in the first place.
Yeah.
You could have just done literally the whole like Raw segment, the match on the segment on Mania.
Yeah.
But I guess they wanted to give Becky and Lyra a Mania win. Maybe that's the only thing I can think of.
I don't know. Lyra, like, don't get me wrong. She seems like she can wrestle. She's very like pretty and she's camera ready and all that stuff. So like she has it. But like the way they've been booking her and her storylines have been awful. Like I've been so uninterested in her and her silly get-ups with the feathers all over the ring was pretty ridiculous. Like, you just see random feathers everywhere in this match, and I could not stop laughing at that because that just was so ridiculous to me. But this was like a bathroom match. I had like, this is the one you go to the bathroom and stuff before your match. Like I was uninterested in this match. Like I didn't care. Like Lyra is the Intercontinental Champion, and all of a sudden she's like got a random tag partner with Bayley just to have a Mania match with Raquel. Like this didn't need to be a WrestleMania match. And then you don't even get Bayley with it. She gets the mystery partner. So it was kind of unimportant, but like I do like where they're going with it now. I get it. Like Becky turned her back on her. That was her hero. She got to win the champion with her hero. Becky let Lynch turn heel. Very interested in that. I feel like finally something with Lyra is interesting, but like for the last year, I have not cared about Lyra at all. I'm surprised she became the champion. And like, who has she even been defending her belt with? Like, I don't even remember her like fighting anybody like with the belt.
Yeah, I mean, she only got the title in I think January or something like that, maybe December. It was only a couple of months ago, right? But she's only defended it against I think Dakota Kai and Ivy Nile. There might have been one more person, but it's been like just 2 or 3 people. And yeah, I feel the same way. I've seen Lyra in NXT and I've just never gotten interested in her, and maybe this could be interesting, you know, at least
hopefully they finally do something with her. With
Becky, hopefully that means they'll put more emphasis on the story and not just like, oh, here's a match and someone challenging you for the title, right? And like Becky's one of the biggest stars, so usually when it's a bigger star, they invest more time in a story other than just like, oh, I just want the title. So
yeah, because people were like asking for mid-card belts for the women for a long time. And now that they have it, they're not doing anything with it. And I know you're not the biggest fan of Chelsea, but at least Chelsea is making her matches memorable. Like I think they're really funny and they are memorable. Like when she goes up to Nicholas and has her, she doesn't even call him Nicholas. She always calls him Nicholas, which I always find so funny.
Yeah.
And she always makes like a big deal and a big stink of everything, which at least makes it memorable.
Right.
Which I do agree. But I feel like they need to do more with their mid-card wrestlers.
Yeah, I mean, I was someone who was never for mid-card titles, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah, just because looking at how they've treated the women's tag titles, I was like, oh, the mid-card titles are going to be treated more or less the same.
Yeah.
And so far, I've kind of been proven right on that. You know, I mean, like you said, Chelsea's making the most of it, and I don't know if I've told this to you. I've told this to other friends. I like what she's doing now.
Yeah, I really coming around to Chelsea.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll ever be her biggest fan, but I enjoy the work she's doing. I always like when someone takes a gimmick and really like just goes all in with it, right? Yeah. So she's the US champion, right? And she takes that concept and she's like, okay, so I don't know who came up with it. I imagine it's her, to be honest. I wouldn't be surprised if she came up with the idea of the secret Hervis and everything like that.
Secret Hervis.
And like and then just doing all these things. I love when people dive into silly gimmicks like that, but they still make it very like you can take it seriously, right? Like she has a faction, she has a group of people, you know, she has 2 other people with her. So like the Green Administration, like I just like that. And so like I've, you know, done fantasy booking for my own characters. I've done similar things, right?
Yeah.
And so I like when people do that and they have wrestlers do that because it makes the wrestler more important. It makes the title then therefore more important, right?
Yeah.
Now, like, okay, people, especially as a heel, it's like people want this administration to end. Right?
Yeah.
Like that's like the whole theory.
Yeah.
That's the whole view I have of it. It's like as a heel, you want people, the fans, to be like, we want this administration to be over, right? So
Yeah.
it's just like, okay, so she's gonna do everything she can. Whereas where I had this cool idea, right? Because I was talking with my friend Sully on our podcast, and I was saying Jade Cargill should go after the US title, right? And for months, she's just fighting off the administration because Chelsea keeps passing executive orders, changing the rules of her matchups, right? So it's like she taps out in a match, but then she's just like, oh, no, there were no submissions allowed in that match. She just like rewrites it post-match, and she just keeps doing that for months. And then eventually Jade has a match where she just destroys the administration. Like it's 3-on-1.
Yeah.
Flattens everyone, beats Chelsea in like a minute, and she wins the title. But it's just like, again, just if you're gonna do it, dive into it deep. So yeah, she's the president. She's president. She has executive order power, and she's able to like rewrite matches and everything like that. I think it'd be hilarious.
That would be fun. That would be funny. Speaking of mid-card titles, let's talk about the four-way between Dominic Mysterio, Braun Breaker, Finn, and Penta. How do you feel about that match? Because honestly, I think that title change was the highlight of WrestleMania for me. And like to see like Dom come up after like so many years and just become this heel, and like you see the work he puts in. Like we got to go to a WrestleMania, I mean not a WrestleMania, a SmackDown, and you know we could see like Dom really does do a lot of dark matches on Raw and even on SmackDown, which I thought was really interesting. And he puts in work. And I'm glad to see him actually getting this push. I thought that was really cool. The crowd was on his side, and he gets booed like crazy, but the crowd really was on his side at WrestleMania. What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, I thought it was a fun match. I think people recognize the work he puts in, everything you just said. And now that he's been distanced from Rhea Ripley for so long, I think, and Ray, like he's been distanced from both Ray and Rhea. So the heat that they were initially getting with that, it's less, right? Because you're not being constantly reminded of how he betrayed Ray, how he betrayed Rhea, and all this stuff. And so it kind of naturally leads to people, you know, also just enjoying his heel work and like his entertainment value. And so I think it makes sense. And I think honestly he was the right decision. I would have liked it to go to Penta, but I'm not mad that it went to Dom. I am glad it's off Braun, though I kind of got screwed over with that. We'll talk about it soon. But yeah, I mean, and this will probably lead to Dom kicking Finn out, is my guess.
Lead to what?
Kicking Finn out of the Judgment Day.
I think it's going to destroy the Judgment Day, to be honest. I think that's what Liv's main plan was. Liv's plan was never to join the Judgment Day, was to destroy the Judgment Day, right? That was part of her revenge tour. And like she comes in and just breaks up the entire faction and the whole thing is done. That's what I think is going to happen instead of Finn just leaving.
Maybe. I don't know. I'm pretty over the Judgment Day, so I'm
pretty over it too. I think everyone's over it. It was cool to see JD come back though, on the following Raw. I'm glad that he's better. He took a really huge a bump when he did a springboard moonsault or something onto the table. That was crazy. Broke his ribs or something.
Yeah. So I'm surprised he's back. So what seems so soon? Maybe it's been a couple of months. I don't even remember when it happened, but it feels like it was in January, February or something. So yeah, glad he's back. I mean, he's super talented as well. It'll be interesting to see if there's a splinter, or if like if does JD go with Finn, if there is a divide, or is it that everybody just turns against Finn?
Yeah, maybe we get a Judgment Day Bad Blood situation going. Maybe.
I kind of hope. I kind of want it to be done. I feel like everybody should just go off on their own.
Yeah. All right. Fair enough. Another match that I did not care for, even though I do enjoy this wrestler, the AJ Styles and Logan match. I did not care for it. And like I think the novelty of Logan Paul is wearing off. Like he comes in and you're like, underestimate him, and he puts off these good performances and he has these really good viral moments, and you're like, okay, Logan is not that bad. He's kind of talented and you're kind of into it. And then I think the veil of that is kind of like coming off, and it's like, okay, he's going to do something gimmicky, and like the novelty of that is kind of wearing off. Like I didn't find this match that great, and I love AJ Styles matches. He puts on bangers. Something about this match was off. I just didn't feel it, and I hated the entrance with the drone. Like that literally made me nauseous. Like I almost wanted to throw up because the camera was so shaky. That was probably the worst entrance I've ever seen. And also his mic works his jokes are getting stale. Like maybe he was never writing his own joke. Maybe the writers are like, okay, he's a little cocky, let him write his own joke, and they're getting stale. Like they're not as funny anymore. And I don't know. I'm kind of getting over the Logan hype train.
Yeah, I mean, I think what you said is perfect because the second you said it, I didn't know how to explain it until you said the novelty of him is wearing off, right? Because when he first started, it's like, oh wow, I didn't know he could execute these moves so cleanly and so impressively. But now I've seen him do a frog splash a bunch of times. So seeing him do the frog splash is nothing special, right? There is, and he's very limited, as we saw in that match he had with Ray on Raw. Like he's very limited to what he's instructed to do, and it's very produced, right? And so it leaves the match very limiting, just for what another wrestler can do. Because AJ Styles can go in the ring with any other professional wrestler and on the fly probably put on a banger because they're that talent. He's that talented, and he can easily lead the person if they can't. But you put him with another good high caliber person, they can go on no planning, and it can be a brilliant match. Logan cannot do that.
No, I think he has to prep for his matches. Like we've seen him, when he does that crazy off the rope moonsault, you saw that he trained for that match. He basically, because he does so many few matches, you can tell that he rehearses the matches over and over again until he gets it perfect, and then he goes on and then he does it live, and it's perfect. It's great. But now he's getting more and more skill. The wrestlers are like, okay, you should be able to do this a lot more with just chemistry and experience now. And he's not there. He's definitely not there. I think the novelty of that is wearing up, and the veil has dropped over the Logan Paul hype.
Yeah. I mean, he was already controversial because of all his outside endeavors and exploits and everything. And fans were already sick of him. And now it's, you're losing that initial excitement and feeling of being impressed by him, because I said, we've seen him do all these moves a bunch of times now. Nothing new. He's not pulling out anything different or anything unique,
right?
Other than I guess his finisher, which is cool.
His finisher is cool, sure, for sure.
A little weird too, though. It's, I don't know, it just feels a little convoluted. But other than that, okay, his buddies are gonna show up. He's gonna punch someone in the face with his whatever they call it, plated knuckle. I don't know what it is.
I mean, that's just a storyline they took from Lex Luthor.
I know, but I'm just saying, that's just, these are the story beats they follow in his matches, and it happens literally every time. And so it gets frustrating of just okay, give us something different. Win a match on your own, maybe. That'd be cool.
Or give us the AJ heel turn with the Karrion Kross influence. That would have made that match interesting. That would have been a thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think at this point, AJ is just better suited as a face because people don't want to boo him. So forcing a heel turn is silly, which is why they kind of did it. It didn't run very long last year. So I mean, I don't know, but the Karrion Kross stuff is interesting.
It is interesting. I feel like they're finally getting around to actually putting that in the forefront. I think that was way too vague and in the background for such a long time. I even see signs on Raw saying push Karrion. I thought that's interesting. Yeah,
well, it's like what I was saying about Dom, right? People are recognizing his work, right? They're seeing all the backstage promos he's doing, and then the way they're weaving that into the stories of these other characters, whether it's Woods or Miz or Sammy or AJ. People are seeing that, how that's playing out. So you become a fan of the person, even if they're a heel, right? I was not a fan of Karrion Kross until mid last year when he started doing the whole Woods thing and Miz, messing with Woods and Miz. and I was just like, oh, okay, there's like substance that he, first of all, as a actor, as a performer, can like latch onto.
Yeah.
And then there's something that as an audience member I can understand. Okay, someone trying to influence another person to behave in a certain way. I can get behind that. That's something I can, peer pressure, whatever you want to call it. It's a relatable thing of being, you know, someone kind of, and also what he's saying isn't necessarily like wrong. There's like validity to his points,
a little bit of truth into it. Yeah.
Like specifically this one, because the promo he cut yesterday with AJ on Raw, where he was like, you're one of the best, you're the best of us, and Logan beating you legitimizes him. And you're like,
yeah,
that's
and I
true.
was like, that's true. It is true. It makes them all look bad.
And he's like speaking for like the hardcore wrestling fan, whether it's in kayfabe or not, but he's like speaking for the hardcore wrestling fan of like, yeah, we don't want this guy. Yeah. And having him win does legitimize him and make him seem better than he is.
Karrion Kross isn't making sense, man. He's making points, solid points. All right. The next match I want to talk about is, I guess it's a little bit of a squash match, but it's like, okay, it's the Randy Orton and Joe Hendry. And honestly, I did not see it. I didn't see any rumors. The rumors that I saw was that Goldberg was going to be his match. And I was like, because I did hear that Goldberg is getting a retirement match. And I was like, oh, maybe that's what they're doing. Randy Orton versus Goldberg. So I was like, all right, I guess we'll just watch that. But when Joe Hendry came on, I was like, that is hilarious. And it wasn't like the greatest match, but like for what it was, I thought it was funny. It was very entertaining. And like, who doesn't want to be entertained and giggle and laugh a little bit? I thought that was great. And also it gave a chance for like Randy to keep his momentum going into WrestleMania, doing 20 WrestleManias, but also giving like the audience a little bit of a breather and something fun to watch. If you know Joe Hendry is like this huge meme, and his catch song is trendy, and whenever you say his name, he appears. I thought it was cool to see him, and good for TNA to get some exposure. And I don't know, I thought it was really good. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, about the same. I mean, they were in an impossible situation with this match too, right? I think any other person you made the surprise opponent would have been a letdown.
Yeah,
you know, there are people who have recently re-signed with WWE that were in the company before, like Rusev, who we saw on Monday.
Yeah.
There's another guy named Aleister Black.
Yeah.
So people were predicting them. And I'm like, it would be cool, but they're not winning if he's a surprise opponent.
Yeah, and then you're basically burying them.
Yeah, so you make them look bad. And you can argue you make Joe Hendry look bad here too, but he is a meme, right? His whole gimmick is basically a walking meme. So it's like, he doesn't lose momentum, but having a guy who re-signed and is debuting lose, that would look really bad, right? Hendry's been in the company, he's been on NXT, he's been at the Rumble and stuff. So it's not like it's this debut, right? It's just like, oh, it's another Hendry appearance, which is cool. It's a novelty thing. And
he's going to go back to his company and still be the champion and whatever. So it's fine.
Yeah. I mean, like, I get if people are like, oh, they kind of hurt some of it. Fair enough. But I mean, again, impossible situation. It pops the crowd. They're entertained by it. And I mean, just for the spot alone of the zoom in for his smile into the RKO.
That was so great.
Like, it's so simple, right? He didn't do like off the ropes. He didn't do a catch, but it was the fact that they used Hendry's thing to zoom in so you could not see Orton, at least on TV, come in. And it was just, I thought that was great.
I thought that was great. And then you see Orton do his own version of it with his pose.
Yes.
I thought that was really, really funny. And like, to be honest, like, if looking at it from a meta perspective, like, it is getting a lot of eyes on TNA. And I do feel like when other promotions, like these independent promotions, also do well, like the industry in general does well. Like, people are getting cut from places like WWE. Like, they have to have a place to go, right? Yeah. And it makes sense for them to go to the indie circuit and for people to get more eyes on the indie circuit. I think it helps everybody. You want these stars that you love and you cheer for to have a place to go once they get cut from the WWE, because WWE is high performing. Like, you got to be at the very top at all times, right?
Yeah.
So I get that.
I mean, like you even said earlier when we were talking about, like, your niece does the Joe Hendry pose.
Yeah.
So the fact that like you said, she doesn't really watch, like she's not like this hardcore fan, but the fact that she gloms onto that because of his charisma and the entertainment value tells you it's like a net positive, right? So like
it is.
Millions of people saw that potentially for the first time.
Yeah.
And now they're like, oh shoot, who's this fun guy who like everybody's like waving their arms to the song and clapping and all that. Like,
I do feel like a lot of people are like that because I feel like WrestleMania has now turned into this like Coachella-like phenomena where people who are not interested in WrestleMania are like watching WrestleMania and going to WrestleMania, which also is like really weird because the crowd is a little weird at WrestleMania. Like when I watch the Raw after WrestleMania, I'm like, okay, that crowd is saying the right thing. They know what to do. The crowd at WrestleMania was a little weird. Like, it was like a mixed reactions to a lot of things, and sometimes they weren't as into things that you think wrestling fans would be into. So,
I mean, I've seen people talk about it, and part of it is the hardcore fans who are mostly middle class, blue collar workers are getting priced out.
Yeah.
Because tickets are so damn expensive.
Yeah.
And so, like you said, they're bringing in people who are just casuals or just there for, and this is no like hate to them or whatever, but it's like they're there for the
to say you've been there. It's like
the aesthetics of it. Yeah.
Like, I've seen models and like Instagram influencers and celebrities go up there just to say they've been there. Not including Vanessa Hudgens. She's a true fan.
Yes.
Respect her.
But like half the people that they show in their audience when they're like, oh, look at who's here. Like, I don't think half of those people are actually wrestling fans. Some of them are. Like George Kittle is a real wrestling fan. Not real, but you know what I mean. He's like, he watches the product, he enjoys it. But like, I'm sure there's some of those people that are just there because either they have like some deal or whatever. Just again for the aesthetic of it. It's good for good PR, I guess.
Yeah, that's why it says like the Coachella thing. Like people just go there just to say they've been there. It's like a thing to brag about. Like I saw somebody tweeting, he's like, "Yeah, this was all great and all, but I just found out that it was like choreographed, which makes it less exciting." And I'm just like, the hell? You're at WrestleMania and you're just finding out it's choreographed and to me, and I was like, sometimes that makes it better because you realize. When you really know about wrestling, you realize how a lot of it is done on the fly and is done through chemistry and sometimes even through crowd reactions.
Yeah.
Right? So it changes the momentum of the fight. So I don't know. It's really interesting. But let's talk about the main event for night one.
Sure.
CM Punk.
Yeah.
OTC and Seth freaking Rollins. Paul Heyman.
Yeah.
The meme that I saw that cracked me up is that CM Punk and Roman Reigns have two smoking hot wives at home, and here they are fighting over Paul Heyman.
Yeah, I saw that on like last week. I saw that. I was like, that's yeah. I mean, it was a fun match. So I think the way I look at it is the women's triple threat was like the like best wrestling match.
Yeah.
And then this match was the best like just drama entertainment match, honestly. Because like one thing I don't like about WWE doing nowadays is guys hitting their wrestlers hitting their finishers, going for a pin immediately and people kicking out.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of that in this match.
Yeah.
And I forgave it because I'm like, it's these three top guys, it's the main event. I get it, but I cannot, and even just towards the end in general, it was just finisher after finisher after finisher. There was no like real wrestling moves being done. It was just finishers. And like I even made the argument in my own head of like, okay, you're exhausted. It's been 15, 20 minutes. You just want to end this thing. So of course you're going to go for your big move. I get all that logic, but still there's like room to do more. And you know, but yeah, I mean, it was a really good match. I do really enjoy the match, and the ending was, I don't hate it, but I also I saw it coming. I think
I didn't see it coming. I thought it would happen, but then I was like, no, they're not gonna do that. Like it's like, but the thing is, like, it's not the fact that I don't like the story. I don't like the way they did it. I think it's great. I think it's fine. I'm worried about where it's going. They have to have a plan for it. And if they have a great plan for it, then great. I'll say. If they did it just for the shits and giggles and they had no thought out plan for it, then it'll be like, this was pointless.
I can almost guarantee you they have no plan for it.
They gotta have a plan. They brought in Braun Breaker. Like, I don't know. What if they start their own faction now, right? Like their version of Evolution. Or maybe they bring in Becky Lynch also, who's also a heel, and they have their own little group. I don't know. I could see it being a faction, and I would be really excited if that happens.
Yeah, I mean, they'll probably make it a faction, but that's not a plan. That's just a concept. Concepts of a plan.
Okay,
That's
Trump.
This is concepts of a plan, which is what they've done for the past like 3 years. I mean, they've done it forever with Vince, but especially with Triple H. And I've ranted about this before, so I'm not going to do it over and over again. But like, they don't have a long-term plan. That's the problem, right? So they're like, the WWE is about moments, right? That is literally what it's about. They knew this would get people to react, even though they like kind of telegraphed it with that segment 2 weeks ago when Seth almost stomped Heyman. Then he's like, "Oh, now you owe me a favor," and all that. And he like tried to convince him that like Punk and Roman don't have his best interest. That he did whatever. And I was just, even like, again, I'm not the only one, so I'm not trying to take credit for this, but I and several others were just like, "Oh, so he's gonna turn on both of them and join Seth." I even, speaking of my podcast, we had talked about it, how WrestleMania 31, it was Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar for the WWE Championship, and Seth Rollins cashed in to make it a triple threat and win the title, and Michael Cole dubbed it the heist of the century.
Yeah.
And 10 years later at WrestleMania 41, I said it's going to be heist of the century too, because he's going to steal Heyman from his two beloveds.
But the thing is, like, CM Punk still got his WrestleMania main event, and it was a good main event. It wasn't bad. It's not anything to like, complain about. I thought it was a solid match. So,
I mean, you can always really find something to complain if you want to, but I mean,
I love the video montage in the beginning with CM Punk. Like, it got me so happy. And
honestly, that was my highlight of night one.
Yeah,
because that was his original theme song, "This Fire Burns." And I love that song just as a fan of the band.
The entire crowd was singing it.
Yeah, but I love the band Killswitch Engage, so I was a fan of that song regardless of it being CM Punk's theme song, and them using it and everything, and using all these moments, recording him recite his original promos and everything, and kind of like overlaying. So well done. I have it saved on TikTok. Like, I have it favorited so I can watch it over and over again. Beautiful. But it also told me he wasn't winning. It confirmed for me he wasn't winning, because this is what Triple H has done.
His goal wasn't to win a WrestleMania main event. His goal was to be in a WrestleMania main event. So you know what? CM Punk did win, if you think about it.
Oh, trust me, I'm happy. I'm CM Punk's like one of his biggest fans, so I'm happy for the guy to have accomplished this goal, right? Like, dude, nearly maybe even more than 30 years in the business at this point. Like, I am thrilled that he got to have this moment. I do wish it was different, but like, he got to have his moment. Hopefully it won't be his last, because I do think there's a place for him and Seth, or him and Cody, for the world title at maybe next year's Mania. Maybe
that'd be crazy. But
because I mean, now they are still 1-1, and then if you count this match, now Seth has 2 wins on Punk. So yeah. As for the Raw stuff, then I have plenty of I'm not a fan of Breaker, as you know, so I wasn't thrilled to see him joining the ranks.
I may not be a fan of Breaker, but I am a fan of Steiner Math. And I don't know if you saw, but he got a chance to do the Steiner Math in his pre-show interview stuff, which I thought was really funny. A reference to his uncle doing Steiner Math.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't care less. I'm not entertained by Breaker.
The memes, though, the memification. Do it for the memes.
But this is the thing. So this is a genuine issue I have with WWE. They just, because Triple H and HBK are in charge, they're just taking things of the past and rehashing them in a different font. Right? Like you were even saying, like, oh, they could form a new Evolution, or other people are saying Paul Heyman and WCW had the Dangerous Alliance, or whatever different groups. Like, I'm just like, or they could just be their own faction, just be like a new thing. But no, of course, it's going to be a callback to this and a callback to that. And I'm just like, can we do anything that doesn't require like rehashing old moments? It's very much like Hollywood at this point of like, oh, we'll just like, do remakes. I'm like, cool, but you could do something different.
Fair. Well, speaking of Flair, how about Charlotte Flair and the Tiffany match? Listen, the lead up to it was not that bad. The horrible promo that they had, which turned out to be actually kind of good because it kind of made it feel like it was a shoot more than a work, was actually pretty good. And the 0-3 banger that Tiffy said, I thought was pretty rough. Man, and although Charlotte did not have a good time on Twitter reacting to some of these fan posts. I think like some people were reacting to her and reacting to her face looking very different. And then she replied to some guy saying like, well, do you want to talk about your face? And he replies, well, at least it's my original face. Oh, man. That was crazy. But what did you think of this match? I think a lot of people complained that it seemed a little stiff. And I could have sworn I saw Tiffy lose a tooth in at the end of this match. But turned out, I think it was just blood on her teeth that made it look like it was chipped. But it looked like a very stiff match where like maybe they don't really like each other and they were really trying to hurt each other. It looked kind of brutal. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, this match was messy. It was rough. I kept saying, because I was watching with some friends, I was like, it looks like they're really scrapping. Like, it doesn't look like they're just wrestling, choreographed moves. It looks like they're trying to, like, because some of the transitions and things weren't clean. It was like, it wasn't like an awkward botch or whatever. It was just like they were just tussling with each other, so they didn't until they got into the position. It was very awkward. I was not a fan of this match. And I mean, for me, I feel like it justifies all the things I've said about Charlotte, that she's not as good in the ring as people proclaim her to be. But, so
Ric Flair said it was the match of the night, apparently.
Of course Ric Flair did. Ric Flair glazes his daughter so much. It's weird. But I'm glad Tiffy won, which is weird to say.
That's weird. That's very weird for you to say.
Yeah, but like it's the right move.
I really hate Charlotte if you're happy Tiffy won.
I'm to say I hate any wrestler is like I just don't care for them. But yeah, I don't enjoy Charlotte, just like I don't enjoy Breaker and I don't enjoy other people. But like, so and it just there's so much history with Charlotte always being booked to win. That I was just like, okay, Tiffany's the up and comer. She should win. Yeah. Thank goodness she did.
Yeah, a lot of people were surprised that Charlotte decided to.
Oh yeah, and I was a little surprised. I mean, like, so I on my podcast, the Big Pop podcast, by the way, my friend and I, we did predictions.
It's called the Big Pop podcast. Yeah, I'm over here reading it like the Big Papa Pod podcast. Like the Big Papa
Pop podcast. But yeah, so we did predictions and we did a little wager, which I lost.
No.
Yeah, but so he predicted Charlotte, and I was like, "You're probably right, but I'm hoping it's Tiffany, so I'm gonna predict Tiffany." And I ended up being right. But yeah, so I'll tell you about that. Actually, the wager was whoever loses has to make a video because he's also a creator. So they have to make a video praising their least favorite wrestler.
Wait, who are you gonna praise?
John Cena.
Oh, that's gonna be great. Tag me in that video. I want to see it.
I'll tag you. You're like you along with several of my other friends are like, oh, you guys said that to me. I was like, freaking great. But it's okay. It's all for the love of the game. I made some predictions that were stupid because I was just having fun with it. Like I didn't predict Dom, even though like in my head I was like, it's probably Dom. I didn't predict I didn't predict Cena, even though I was like, I'm pretty sure it's Cena. But I had this wild theory, and I was like, I'm gonna go with this wild theory because you know what? I don't care.
I actually got most of them right, except for the only one that I got wrong was the Randy Orton. I also got wrong the John Cena one. I thought Cody was gonna win.
I got a few wrong. I got the Priest one wrong.
No, I got that.
I got the Liv and Raquel wrong. But I thought it was we made the prediction when Bailey was part of the match.
Oh yeah, true.
Like if I knew there was a mystery up, I would have obviously guessed that, especially because I predicted it'd be Becky. So I was like, oh, obviously gonna be. But so that one doesn't really count. But I got the Cody one wrong, and I think I got the Dom one. Yeah, but again, I was 95% sure. Oh, and I got Seth wrong. I predicted Punk, even though again, literally on video, I said the whole thing about Heist of the Century 2. But I was like, you know what? I'm gonna hope it's Punk and go with it.
All right. The next match I want to talk about is El Grande Americano versus Rey Mysterio Jr.
I got that wrong too, actually.
But turned out it wasn't Rey Mysterio Jr. and they had to just put in another random luchador.
Another Rey. They had to replace it with another Rey. Because I don't know if they call him. So his name is Rey Fenix. I don't know if they call him Rey Fenix in WWE. Okay, yeah. So they just swapped one Rey for another.
They did.
And who also is a luchador.
The match was good. I saw Gable or Grande Americano do some kind of 450 moonsault that I thought was insane.
That was absolutely. It was a moonsault it was really a senton. Crazy. I lost my mind at that. Yeah, I mean,
I was like, maybe Gable did learn some luchador skills.
I think he's always been capable of it, but yeah, it was fine. I just was genuinely surprised. A, they had Phoenix lose since he just debuted. B, I also thought this is where the story ends. Like they'll unmask him, and
I thought so too. I was like, let's be done with this.
I wonder if they changed the plans because of Rey, or this was the plan all along. I don't know.
No, because this was like the match was great, but like it wasn't WrestleMania worthy without the actual finish of like revealing who it is or something cool happening.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a hot take, but I don't think most of the matches on either night were WrestleMania worthy. If I'm being really honest,
maybe. But like, what do you think is the point of this whole Grande America? Because nobody likes it, and apparently it's offending a lot of people. So I thought they would shorten it, but it's still going.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what's the offensive part, but I mean, I'm not.
I mean, offensive in terms of kayfabe. Like, remember in the Battle Royal, all the luchadors were pissed off that he was there. And
yeah, I don't know, because WrestleMania seemed like the right time to
do it,
end it, right? Like, yeah, and like get the comeuppance for this sort of like racist character, or like racist adjacent character or whatever.
Yeah.
So I don't know, and we didn't see him last night. So
I mean, the cool thing would be to like have him unmasked, and he turns out not to be Chad Gable. It's just somebody who's like has the same exact body double of him, right?
Yeah.
Like he goes underneath the ring, he comes back out, and it's a different guy.
Yeah, and it was especially weird because they started the match with him getting hit by one of the AAA wrestlers, Vikingo.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, that feels like you're saying like I don't know, it just feels like everything pointed to him losing and being unmasked. And like the natural progression of the story. It's like the EO thing. Like the natural progression of the story was he loses and gets unmasked. Maybe it happens at Backlash, but like why? I don't know. I don't care, and like I don't think they have a plan for this. Yeah. So they're just like going with it. Maybe Rey getting injured really did ruin the plans.
Yeah. Could have been.
So I don't know. I feel bad for Chad that he got a WrestleMania match. Well, technically he didn't.
Technically he didn't
get the WrestleMania match. So,
but like they've done something like this before too, right? With Hulk Hogan, they did like this American masked wrestler. Like it was boring then. It's boring now.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not clever. It's very like, I don't want to say juvenile, but like cartoony. And
they also did it with Owen Hart. The same thing, like who that is, but not, like 3 times they've done it now.
And wrestling can be cartoony, but there are like ways to do it that make that work, and then there are ways to do it that don't work. And this is, in my opinion, one of the ways that don't work.
Yeah, fair. All right, what about the Jacob Fatu and LA Knight match? How do you feel about that one? Jacob Fatu, new United States champion.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the match was pretty fun. It was nothing like special, but it was good. I mean, the moonsault into the BFT was a cool spot. I did not expect that. I'm glad. Fatu deserves everything, so I'm glad he won.
Fatu is a maniac.
Yeah, so I was
too big to move the way he does.
I was, as long as that was the outcome, I was like, whatever the match is, the match is. I would have been fine with a squash, to be completely honest. Like, he could have just entered, super kicked him, Samoan dropped him, hit his splash, and won. And I would have been like, let's go. Let's go.
My only
issue.
My only issue with the whole Jacob Fatu thing is that I maybe one of the few people here, but I love Solo. And I don't mean that in the Jacob Fatu, I love Solo way. Like, I think for what it was worth, Solo carried the Bloodline feud for a full year. And now he's just like knocked down to like Jacob Fatu's hype man, which is a little weird to me. The thing is, I honestly think Solo is really good. I think they didn't let him be Solo. Like, a little bit of his real personality came through in some of the promos, but mostly they try to make him look like this enforcer and really tough bad guy. But like, he's actually really funny. Like, if he got the opportunity, his mic skills are like up there with like Jay and Jimmy. Like, he's really funny. Like, sometimes it slips out, but you realize he's really funny. I'm a Solo fan. I don't know if that's a hot take, but I don't love this idea of him getting like knocked down to just being his hype man. Like, he should have something too.
Yeah, I do think it is. I want to say rare, but less common. I mean, I see less people talk about Solo, so I think you are in a bit of a minority.
Yeah, I love Solo.
I don't think anybody thinks he's particularly bad. I just don't think. I mean, personally, I don't think he's like long-standing main event material, if that makes sense. I think he can be in the main event, but I think he'd just be there to serve other wrestlers. Personally, my personal feeling from what I've seen so far. Things can always change, as my opinions have changed on other people.
That like he has not tapped his full potential, and he could be somebody.
It's quite possible
who could be a big time star, but we'll see. Maybe they'll never be like that. Like, no, we want you to just be the Solo that we want,
right,
and not get a lot of the freedom, which will stunt his growth. But
you could be right. That's, like I said, my opinions have changed on people once they've been able to showcase more of their talent.
Yeah,
I just, from what I've seen from, so I get what you're saying, by the way, of like he's able to like just give little snippets or little glimpses of like maybe more that he offers.
Yeah. Like when he had the feud with Jay, like when he was like, "I got tickets, bro. I got tickets." Like it was really funny. Like when he makes fun of his brothers, he's so funny. And like I've heard interviews where they talk about who's the funniest Uso, and they all say that it's actually Solo, which is so funny because he comes off so serious. So I know it's there. Like it's there because like people outside say in IRL, Solo is the funniest. So I know there's potential there, man. I'm a Solo fan. I may be the only one. One of these days, I feel like I'm gonna be proven right.
I mean, listen, I'm pretty sure he's fairly young, so he's got a lot of time, to. I don't think he's going anywhere. I just think, they're riding the wave of. He's 32, so he's still got time, but they're riding the Fatu wave because
Fatu's unstoppable, man.
He's taken WWE by storm and just like. I get it. I get why they're doing it, but I get what you mean of just like, it is weird that he went from the head of the table, tribal chief, to just the side person.
And the thing is like, Roman Reigns has the Ula Fala and he is the tribal chief, but like, where's his tribe? Because like Jacob and Jay are not there. I mean, sorry, Jacob, Jay, Tama, none of them are there. He has nobody. He's tribeless. He just has the Ula Fala. Like, what's the point of him? Like, I don't get that. There's no, like, I don't know, continuity or collusion there. So, like, I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, I don't think they know, to be honest.
I don't think they know either. Yeah, all right. Next match, Jade Cargill and Naomi. This feud is better online than it is on TV. Because I don't know if you've seen their tweets. They're hilarious. The way they go at each other on Twitter, it's so funny, and it's so like vitriol, and like I crack up at some of the memes that they made about each other. But I feel like on TV, this hasn't really they didn't really get to showcase it. What are your thoughts about this match?
Yeah, I mean, it was a fine match. Again, I don't think it was WrestleMania worthy, but I think they wanted to get Jade on WrestleMania. It would have made more sense if it was a triple threat with Bianca. I think that would have been a WrestleMania worthy match, but they wanted to put Bianca in the title match. It doesn't make much sense. Whatever, we moving past that. The feud itself on television post Jade's like beatdown of Naomi at Mania. Chamber was it's just standard stuff, standard WWE storytelling.
Pole fight, her running away. Like
one person gets the upper hand one week, the other gets the upper hand the next week. A pull apart brawl or interrupting matches. It's just like really, really standard WWE storytelling. They don't know. I don't want to say they don't know how. They do know how to tell more interesting and intricate stories, but they just, if they don't care, they just go, oh, I'll just have them do this. They'll just fight one person will get the upper hand one week, then the next person the next week, and that's it. And it's really frustrating and sad because like not just Naomi and Jade, but like so many of these wrestlers, especially the women, have so much talent and they're just really not being allowed to showcase it because the writers and the creative team are lazy.
Yeah. I get it. Another one that I thought was actually pretty good was the Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest fight. I really like this one. I like the way it ended. Super funny. Him doing the tweet in the middle of the thing. Drew is insane. That's so funny to me. And the fact that he had the foresight to pin the original one from last WrestleMania and then put this one right under it so that when you take it, you see them both together. Fantastic. Drew does good work, man. I have never been disappointed with Drew.
Yeah, it was a fun match. I think it makes sense for Drew to win. I thought they would go with Damian, but I'm kind of glad Drew got the win because he's taking a lot of L's. So, and they can just do a backlash match, kind of like, what's it called? The rubber match, because like Damian beat him in last summer, and then Drew beat him now. So you get one last match. If they want to go that route, they could do something different, but like they have less than 3 weeks, so they probably will just defer to those rematches.
That's fair. We'll see what happens on SmackDown.
But it's a good match. I did like the ending, like the Claymore into the chair in the corner was clever
great
spot.
I love that. That was a great spot. The other match, which I don't think it was WrestleMania worthy, was New Day versus War Raiders. This match could have been an email.
Or it could have been on the Raw. And you could have had the triple threat TLC match on Mania. But why would we do something like that?
That doesn't make sense.
Stupid, dude. Like the Street Profits, I don't know. Sometimes I'm like, I don't know why you're still with the company. They do not value you guys. And they're both, especially Montez, but both of them are so damn talented,
really
and still end up getting the short end of the stick every single time.
I agree.
It's so wild that they keep being brought back because they'll like disappear for months and they're not being used. They get brought back and they get brought back as heels, but they're so over with the crowd that they have to make them at least like tweeners, if not faces, because the crowd loves them. And I'm like, how are you not printing money with these guys? You're so clueless, WWE.
They want the smoke. All right. Well, speaking of who wants to smoke, Jey Uso versus Gunther. Again, this is the Royal Rumble winner. This should have been the main event. After watching this match, this should not have been the main event. So thank God for that. Wow. Like, again, like I like Jay. He's fun. My niece loves him. And like I know he can wrestle. Like I've seen some good matches, but like this is 2 WrestleManias where he has put a lackluster match together. Like the one with him and his brother was just probably the worst match of WrestleMania last year. And with him and Gunther, this was a pretty boring match. I feel like neither of them were into it, and Gunther tapping out so quickly was really out of character, and I'm very confused by the whole thing. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it was a serviceable match. You know, I think if it was on any other show, it would have been solid, right? Like it would have been like, oh, this is a good match, you know. But because it was on Mania, I was just like, come on, like this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
But it had the expected and sensible conclusion of Jay winning. I knew it was opening the show once I knew it wasn't main eventing, because it's just like hype way to get the crowd excited and amped up, you know, yeeting for the first 40 minutes of the show.
Yeeting.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I at least appreciate, because I'm iffy on the quick tap out too, but at least it was after like I think 3 super kicks and 4 splashes and like it was a whole bunch of stuff, so it wasn't totally unreasonable. I also, one thing I don't get was this story they told of him using Gunther's moves against him.
Yeah,
I was just like, why? Like, what is the like logic? What is the story reason behind it, other than like he's using his moves? Like, because he hit the clothesline, then he hit the splash, then he hit the, which is also Jay's move, so it doesn't really count. But but it's just like, usually when you use your opponent's move, it's because like, oh, this rivalry is so heated, like with Punk and Seth, right?
Yeah.
But there isn't, I mean, in their minds, I guess the story is super heated because of what he did to Jimmy and all that. But I mean, I didn't think there was a lot of heat to this story. So I was just
I feel like there's more heat between him and Pat McAfee than there was with Jay.
Yeah, dude. And I hope that's just I hope that doesn't become a story itself.
I do not want to watch Pat McAfee versus Gunther.
Yeah, that's my one fear, because McAfee has wrestled before.
Yeah,
so,
he's wrestled Austin Theory.
Yeah, and he's also wrestled in NXT. So I don't think so. This might just be, and I think we might even have talked about this. I said like, oh, well, if Gunther loses, at least like maybe he'll go on this like rampage, like just furious. And I kind of hope that's what they do. And McAfee was just like, McAfee and Cole are just like part of that. They're just casualties. They're not like the focus. Like he needs to start brutalizing. Like maybe he freaking attacks AJ Styles. Let's put him in a feud with AJ Styles. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. That'd be great. We'll see how that goes. I think that's interesting. But the fact that we talked about Pat McAfee being in a match, Pat McAfee was in a match with Austin Theory and Vince McMahon, and then at the end of it, Stone Cold Steve Austin randomly comes out and he gets a beer with everybody and then stuns them. And Stone Cold Steve Austin also came out of WrestleMania and basically ran his ATV in the barricade and probably hit some woman.
Yeah, I think he did hit her or like something. There was a whole ordeal about it. So yeah, I mean,
like you saw Nick Khan come out of his seat and walk over there to see if the woman was all right. And I was like, oh damn, is she getting tickets for life? Is that what's happening? How the green shirt guy got there?
Yeah. So I mean, yeah. I was gonna say before we move on from the Gunther thing, it'll be interesting to see him without a championship and what they do with him.
That is true. I don't know. Maybe him and Kaiser will do something. Poor Kaiser. He can't even get a win, let alone a WrestleMania.
Yeah.
The most hype Kaiser got was when Charlotte Flair said he was in her DMs. And my favorite comment about that was that Kaiser is the first man to be accused of cheating and everybody collectively disagrees.
Yeah.
Oh, man, that was funny. All right, and then finally, the last match, Cody Rhodes versus John Cena sucks. What are your thoughts about this match? I want to hear your thoughts because I may have similar thoughts. I may be on the other side this time, so we'll see.
This was a bad match. I'm just not even gonna sugarcoat it. This was just a bad match. It was slow paced. It was whatever. And then same thing about my complaint with the triple threat, men's triple threat, just finisher, kick out, finisher, kick out, finisher, kick out. Then we get this stupid Travis Scott thing.
Yo, that pissed me off so much. It took him so long to walk down the aisle to the point where like they both just turned around and waited for him. Like,
Yeah.
that was so dumb. It lost all the momentum that it would have had. He just strolling down the aisle like an idiot.
Yeah, it was. You should have had him on a scooter or something. I don't know. I don't know what the solution was. I mean, I don't think you needed him there because it didn't add anything to the story.
It had nothing.
Yeah. But yeah, that's John Cena's final WrestleMania match, which I think was the biggest mistake they could have made. Not the win. Whatever. The win is the win.
Is whatever.
Like, I expected it. I don't think he should have, but I expected it. So I'm not bothered by that. I just think, putting him up against Cody was a bad decision. Turning him heel was a bad decision. And having him win in that manner and in this really boring match was a bad decision. Like, whoever produced the match, I'm not saying fire them, but like, dude, get your stuff together because that was so bad.
So my theory is that the crowd reactions to that match was so weird that it threw off both John Cena and Cody Rhodes. You could see like John doing like moves like leaving the ring and doing stuff to get the crowd mad at him so that they stop cheering for him and start cheering for Cody, because throughout the match they were cheering for John and booing Cody, which throws off the entire like match a little bit, because the way the match usually works is that like you need the face to have the momentum to get the crowd excited to have him do all these moves. When he starts doing all these moves and it looks like he's about to win, but the crowd is booing him instead of cheering him, it's a weird vibe. And like, I partially blame the crowd. Like, it was really weird to have everybody cheer for John, even though like John was like, you get nothing. He came out to like no special video, came out to nothing, right? I don't know. I thought the crowd reaction was really weird to that match, and it prevented the match from gaining any momentum at any time.
That's a fair point. I didn't think about that, but at the end of the day, I blame WWE for that because I said this and I say it so many times. The vast majority of people, I'm excluding myself, but the vast majority of people don't want to boo John Cena in his final run. They want to cheer him. They want the fun. They want the nostalgia. They just want to enjoy his last 27 dates now. And you're trying to force them to react negatively to him. It is such a terrible decision from a writing standpoint, and then the execution of it all. Like, not only is the decision to make him a heel bad, but then the way you're going about it, and then the lack of follow-up with The Rock. I don't know if you saw the whole interview with Pat McAfee or the snippet of it.
No, I didn't.
Okay, so he was on the Pat McAfee show, and he was talking about this whole thing. And so apparently Nick Khan or whoever, I think Nick Khan called him and wanted him to do something because ticket sales were low for Chamber, right? And so that's where they came up with the whole sell your soul thing, whatever, steal your whatever, give your soul.
Oh,
and
this is shoot. This is not in kayfabe.
Yeah. I mean, who knows? But like, this is Rock on the Pat McAfee show, which is tend to be understood as a non-kayfabe interview. And so he's talking about behind the scenes stuff. So I'm assuming it's everything's a work shoot, but whatever. So he's saying he suggested, or like whatever, it was suggested, this whole sell your soul thing, that it should have been Cody. Triple H said he wants it to be John. He said if John's cool with that, great. But after Chamber, he said he called John and Cody and he's like, I think the final boss's work's done now, which is so
that's
bad.
So stupid. That's so bad. Like, what did The Rock actually do? Like, how did he sell his soul and The Rock helped him in any way? Like, that doesn't make sense. Like, he sent Travis Scott. That was it. Yeah,
that is like Palpatine turning Anakin and then Palpatine disappearing from the story entirely.
Done.
Yeah, just disappearing. And
I'm gonna send Jar Jar Binks to distract you.
yeah. Actually, Darth Jar Jar. That's perfect. Yeah, Travis Scott is Jar Jar. That's perfect, dude. But that's what it's like. It's just like, oh, okay. So no, and again, Cena has not touched on The Rock in any of his promos. So they are just going like, okay, there's no connect. If they bring it back in like 4 months, I'm going to be so annoyed with this company. I'm like, you can't do this. You can't just, oh yeah, this whole time it was whatever weird excuse they're going to make up. And like, and I think I said this to you, and if I didn't say it to you, I said it to everyone else. This was not a long-term plan. This was not something they envisioned for Cena's final run. It was a spur of the moment decision, just something on a whim to pop a crowd at reaction, to get social media buzz, and that was it.
I hate to say you're right, but it is starting to feel like that, because like in theory, I love what they're doing. Like, I like this character that John Cena is doing, and I know you don't, but like, I love this idea of treating the fans like a toxic relationship, because they suck. The fans do suck. And I was like, there's truth to this, because they have said horrible things to John Cena and he's just supposed to take it. And like, it is like a toxic relationship. And now John is the one who's being toxic, right? And like, you could, and the thing is, like, it's not working, because like you said, like, nobody wants to boo John Cena on his last run, to the point where the crowd started cheering, "We are sorry, Cena," and he had to gaslight us into saying that they're saying we aren't sorry. Like, no, John, they're saying we are sorry. You're trying to gaslight us. And I'm just like, he's trying so hard to be a heel, and like, I get it, because it's his last run, it's not working. But this character, honestly, would have worked better for Cody Rhodes.
Yeah.
And he goes full Homelander after it, right? Because like the fans are always like that. They treat people like crap, then they go away, then they come back, and then they appreciate them like they never did. They do this all the time. Star Wars fans do that. Yeah. They treated Hayden Christensen like shit, to the point where like even Jar Jar Binks, like, the actor wanted to commit suicide. Like, it was so awful. And then 10 years later, they put him in a scene and they're like, "We're so sorry. We were wrong. We should have treated him better. We're so glad he got his flowers." Like, bullshit. You were the ones that were bullying him, and you're still bullying new people. And I feel like the same thing. The wrestling community is probably still bullying all these people. The way they're treating Cody Rhodes, like, Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso get so much crap. And I get it. Like, yeah, for like the adults, maybe they're not the characters, but like, the adults are not the only ones that watch wrestling. Like, kids also watch wrestling. They need the good guy. They need the white baby face, whatever, right? And I appreciate that. Like, there is like something nice about the guy who's like completely an underdog, and his brother gets beat up and he gets the strength to beat the main bully. Like, I get that. That's something kids can get with. For us growing up in the 80s, yeah, we've seen that over and over again, to the point where like, it's like cliche. But like, wrestling is not for just us, it's for everybody. And the fans are toxic, and I love this storyline that John is doing. Is just not working for him.
I mean, that's why literally any point before this final run, if he did it, I would have been all aboard for it. You know, I would have been like, yeah, let's see what you're doing. When he started like coming back in 2018 and stuff like that, cool. 29, like, literally any point before this, it would have worked. I said it would have worked 10 years before.
Or it could have worked this year if they just never announced his retirement and he just retires after without telling anybody. Hard stop, done. Yeah,
that's true. It would have worked if people didn't know he's retiring. If it was just like, if he was actually just like, I'm actually back. Like, I'm back for good. And I'm back until someone can take this title from me. Now you're like, shoot. Now I got to deal with Super Cena, but a heel Super Cena. Oh my God. This is going to be wild. This is going to be a like, for a lot of, like, they would get the proper heat, is what I'm saying. It'd be like, oh my God, they're going to boo him, because it's like, well, no, why are you putting Cody down? Right? That's how it would look like. Oh, Cena comes back and he takes the title from Cody. Gee, LOL, Cena wins. But they marred it. They just stained it by announcing that it's his final run. He could have done that at the end of the run. He could have, like, in the last, like, 10 dates or whatever, he could have been, you know, that's when you turn him face or whatever, and you just announce, like, hey, I got this much left, this much time left. I want to make the most of it. So let's have fun. And then you could, honestly, you're right. If they'd done it without announcing his last run, but they want to try to milk as much money, even though they're making billions, they still are just like, no, give us more of your money. Because every time he shows up, he's gonna have a different shirt, and it's gonna say like a different color. It's gonna say the last time is now Backlash. The last time is now whatever, like 3, 4, whatever dates. It's gonna be just random stuff, and I'm just like, yo, this is, and people buy it, and that's the problem.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Like it is frustrating because, again, this is something a lot of fans wanted to see for a long time.
Yeah,
we wanted to. I mean, I've never been like, oh, he needs to turn heel, but I would have been like, yeah, cool. He's, you know, if you're not gonna adjust his character as a face, if you're not gonna evolve it as a face, then yeah, turn him heel. Sure. You know, and so I would have been interested to see how this goes, because you are right. It does make a lot of sense what he's saying.
Yeah,
it just doesn't make sense for the moment, and it's kind of always been Cena's, or not Cena's fault, but like the company's doing of like they push him in a certain way at the wrong point. I was talking to you, I think, before, you know, about like when he became the world champion for the first time in 05 and 06, he was taking on this Marine, this like super patriotic persona.
Yeah.
And there was disillusionment with the US because of the Iraq War and everything like that. So it's like, ooh, bad timing. They have no control over that, but that's what happens, right?
Right.
And they stuck to their guns, like, well, no, he's just going to become Super Cena. And it's like, well, we don't want to be treated like, we don't want to be fed this propaganda of like, oh, Cena and the US is the best, right? Same thing in 2015, he's doing this US title open challenge. 2015 is the time that Donald Trump's starting to run for president.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's just, again, he's trying to push this patriotic thing. Well, they're bringing in like the Russia as the villain with Rusev. He was like a Russian. He's from Bulgaria, but he had support from Russia. Like they literally showed a picture of Putin in behind Rusev at one point. Like it was this whole thing. And I'm just like, no one is buying into this right now, where you're like, again, being exposed to like the problems with US imperialism and like, you know, the US empire and everything with Trump taking, no one's buying into this.
No one's buying it.
And now here we are again. He's turned heel far too late because you told us he's leaving, and fans want to enjoy him.
I gotta say, you're right on this one. I had a lot of hope. I thought they could pull it off. I didn't expect the audience to react the way they did, and I agree. But who knows?
What did you think of the match itself, though?
I also didn't care for the match. Like I don't know what it was. Something was just off. And then the Travis was the nail in the coffin.
Yeah,
that was ugh. God, please do not let him back anywhere near the WWE. Like I'd rather have ISO Speed there.
Yeah. It's funny too because there was an interview. It was going around again, but John did it maybe last. I don't remember when he did it, but he said like, if I start losing a step, if I start falling behind, like then I'm gone. Right. And I'm like, but just from this match alone, I can see you're losing a step. Like you're not, and I've never thought John Cena is like a great wrestler, but he still is able to perform at a high level.
Yeah.
And I don't think he was able to do that last night. So I'm like,
but I don't think Cody was either though.
No, but I that's why I said whoever produced this match, I think made a mistake. Right. And I also think John's lack of experience being a heel also impacts that. He's been a face for 20 years. Now he has to fight as a heel. I know it sounds simple, like, oh, you just beat them down, you hold them in like chin locks and stuff, but there is an art to it, right? There's
I agree. Like I understand it when watching the Dominic matches, you know, like the more high flying stuff you do, the more you want to cheer, even though it's a heel. So they make sure that heels don't do certain things at certain times to keep momentum a certain way for them, and so that you're cheering for the right person at the right time, and that it makes the match like flow in this like beautiful pattern. But when the audience and the characters and stuff are not meshing, it feels like a mosh posh and just all over the place.
My least favorite thing someone said to me was like, oh, John Cena said he's gonna ruin wrestling, that's what he's doing. I was like, that is not at all the
I mean, he's got a point.
He does in a way, like in a really weird roundabout meta way, where I'm like, him putting on a bad performance is not. That's not an indication of him kayfabe ruining wrestling. That's him actually hurting the performance and the show.
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't make any sense. We're gonna put on a really bad show and just say like, oh well, I'm ruining wrestling, right?
Yeah.
Like, if he fumbled over his words in a promo, it'd be like, well, he's trying to ruin wrestling. No,
No,
that
that's
doesn't
not
make
how
sense.
Well, his ruining wrestling is interesting to me because now he's like, I'm only going to appear 27 more times, and then I'm going to take this belt and go home, and no one's going to ever use this belt again. You guys can get a new belt. And I'm just like, okay, where is this going? Is that actually going to happen? Because that would be kind of crazy. And they come with a new belt after this.
Yeah, I mean, there's always a possibility because, again, WWE is about moments, but it would be weird for him to leave with the championship like permanently, right?
Yeah.
Like CM Punk left with it back in 2011,
Yeah.
but and we didn't know it at the time when it happened, but he had re-signed with the company, so he wasn't actually leaving with the title, right?
Yeah.
So I don't think that the ending is John actually leaving, which also is like, oh, so the natural conclusion is someone beats him before then, either like on the last day
Right.
or whatever. So you're kind of like I doubt anybody's beating him before the last couple of months of the year.
Yeah.
Like, maybe it happens in October or November. Chances are it probably happens more November, December.
I mean, Survivor Series is probably one of the last matches, right?
Yeah.
Like, the last big.
But so all these matches that are going to take place in the meantime, like, I don't know, they're not going to matter much, you know?
He's just not going to defend his title until he has to come in for these things, and it's not even a match; it's like an actual appearance. So if he comes and shows up and says like a few words, that counts.
Oh yeah, but I'm just saying, like, so they're foreshadowing, hinting towards him versus Orton at Backlash because Orton dropped him with an RKO on Monday.
This would be the first time they're fighting where it's reversed. The heel and the face thing.
Yeah, which is cool, and it's in Orton's hometown of St. Louis.
Yeah,
but he's not winning. Like, there's no way Orton is winning. And
unless like they make him lose like 3 times and get it back, and then he's actually like the 21st time champion, just to like beat Ric Flair like double.
just crush that record.
Ric Flair claims he has more than 16 championships.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that'd be interesting if they hot potatoed it a few times. But I mean, I also carry this little bit of frustration for the fact that it could have been Orton versus Cena at Mania. Because, and I'm not even the biggest fan of these two. It's funny that I'm advocating for this, but I just like, I guess, symmetry or whatever you want to call poetry.
Yeah.
These two men have had every single match under the sun.
Yeah.
They've had TLCs, I Quits, Last Man Standings, Hell in a Cells. They've done everything except 1-on-1 at Mania.
That's crazy.
Yeah. It's so weird. They've done every other match possible. They've had, like, when you think of Cena and his like most iconic rivals, Orton's one of the top 2, right? If it's not Orton, it's probably Edge. Some might argue Punk, but like it's like Orton, Edge. Orton's right up there.
Yeah.
And like every big rivalry has at least like one match at Mania, like ends the feud for that time period, right?
Yeah.
And like never happened. Not a single time in their like 20 plus year career. And I think that's insane. And that's all that's what it should have been. Honestly, I will die on that hill. Cody should have wrestled Punk for the title, and Orton should have faced Cena in a never before, once in a lifetime match between 2 bona fide legends. It was, the story was written for you, but whatever. What do I know? I'm not Triple H and his amazing let him cook booking. And hell, I hate hearing that phrase now, dude. Cinema. No, there was
absolute cinema.
I can't stand. Honestly, I don't think wrestling fans in general watch cinema because they call these moments cinema, and I'm like, you don't know cinema. I'm sorry.
No. All right. Well, speaking of that, I think that's a good note to end it on. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Do you want to plug your podcast and let people know where they can find it real quick?
Yeah. So you can find me personally, Nuv the Poet, NAV the Poet, or you can TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, all that stuff. And then you can find my wrestling podcast, wrestling and other things. We're going to branch out, other media, politics and stuff, but it's, the core is wrestling. The Big Pop Podcast on YouTube and the Big Pop Pod on Instagram and TikTok. We release episodes every week, usually on the weekend. The day is not like set in stone. We're still figuring out like routines, but yeah, we talk about different things. And soon you'll be seeing me post a video praising John Cena after you just heard me rant about how much I hate him here. Awesome. That'll be fun.
All right, man. Well, thank you for joining us. And guys, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. We do wrestlings after every PLE. And don't forget, until next time, Salaam, nerds.